What's up, Learn Zawadi community? This is John O back with another Zawadi, another gift, the gift that is Black Studies, the gift that is Ralph Ellison. To kick off this presentation, I need you to grab that journal, a dictionary, and something to write with, some pencils, crayons, and markers. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. So for the agenda, we got our word bank, some terminology, some things that we're gonna look up together to help grasp our knowledge and understanding of what we're about to review today around this great man. The second thing is the activity portion. Then we got biography, major works, his impact today, reflection, sources, and then we're gonna close. Picture to the right, what we got is a photo taken by the legendary Gordon Parks. He's a gift to the experiences of Black Americans, Black people, American development, all those different things in the world of photojournalism. He used his gifts and talents here, as you can see pictured, to capture many civil rights luminaries, many leaders in their own right across different fields. Gordon Parks was mean with that camera. And so he got a pictured here is just some photos he took of Ralph Ellison back in the day. And you can see Ralph, with the off guards, with the off guard. You got one photo with a fedora on, looking fly and things like that. With his specs on and things like that. So Gordon Parks was really good at capturing just those moments, those everyday moments of many of our leaders. And so shout out to Gordon Parks, shout out to Ralph Ellison. So for word bank, I need you to pause the video, but before you do, I need you to look up these three terms: the New York Federal Writers Program, double consciousness, and HBCU. The New York Federal Writers Program, double consciousness, and HBCUs. And when you're done, you should go ahead and start the video again when you get a definition of each of those terms. We're gonna need them for the next slide. For the activity, I need you to pause the video. Before you do, I need you to check out these three questions. The first is, what challenges did Black writers face in publishing their works? What challenges did Black writers face in publishing their works? The second thing I need you to answer is, how does double consciousness, remember from the previous slide, how does double consciousness reflect in the experiences of Black American writers' works? Thirdly, I need you to check out this last question. How did Black nationalism influence the development of American literature? So when you get these questions answered, when you write them down, when you write down your response, go ahead and start the video again for me. So biography, the main event. Ralph Ellison, you see my brother, suited and booted up, with a very serious demeanor. He like, yeah, check me out. I see you, Ralph. So Ralph is a Pisces. He was born March 1st in 1914. He ends up losing his father tragically at the age of 3 years old. So he was raised primarily by his mother. His mother, in order to support Ralph, worked as a nursemaid, a janitor, and a domestic. So worked on, in the world of healing, also did some cleaning. And then lastly, also did some work on people's houses because she had to keep income coming in, right? Especially as after, I imagine after the loss of Ralph's dad, Mr. Ellison, she had to make up for that loss of income and that lack of support that comes from being a single mother raising, a son. And so he goes through school and all those different things, and he ends up getting accepted into a school that was founded none other than by the great Booker T. Washington, named Tuskegee Institute. And he ends up actually, while Ralph is known as a writer, he ends up going to Tuskegee to pursue music, right? He ends up going there to become a composer and study jazz music and things like that. And so when he graduates, he's working and doing different things. He ends up becoming he ends up joining the Marines. He becomes a merchant Marine and as a cook. And then in the midst of this, though, he's witnessing everything that's going on, and some of that's feeding into his creative energy. Like I said, he was interested in jazz, he was interested in music while at the Tuskegee Institute, but he also ends up transferring some of that interest and that passion into writing. And so that ends up shaping out when he's hired to work with a federal program that ended up getting launched to help propel him into his writing career, called the New York Federal Writers Program. And we just looked it up in the other slide. And so there's four different pieces that he writes for. It's the New Masses, the Negro Quarterly, the New Republic, and Saturday Review. And so take it back a little bit, he ends up getting married to Rose Poindexter at the age of 24. This is before he joined the Marines. This is before he was writing for the New York Federal Writers Program, I believe. They don't end up working out for too much longer after the Marines. He ends up marrying Fanny McConnell, and they stay together in New York. Around this time, he's working on a major piece that he ends up dropping later on, and we'll talk a little bit more about in another slide, called The Invisible Man. This piece right here is it symbolizes Ralph Ellison's work. That piece right there, Invisible Man, ends up launching him into another level when it comes to the world of literary works. And so he later in life gets awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom for all of his accomplishments by Lyndon Baines Johnson at the age of 55. And to give back to the community and as acts of service and stuff like that, he ends up, traveling to speak about, with other writers and other young people and people in the community who are interested in learning about the world of literary art. And he works as a consultant in American Letters from 66 to 72. He ends up, unfortunately, transitioning on April 16th in 1994 at the age of 80. Ralph Ellison, good people, Ralph Ellison. So, major works. Like I said the last time, Invisible Man is a piece that is the pinnacle of his literary brilliance. And Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, even named his memoir after based on the influences he got from reading Invisible Man. The book was awarded the National Book Award. And so, Ralph, like I said, it catapulted him into national consciousness, even international consciousness as with regard to the literary world. Sal Bellow, who was a Nobel Peace Prize recipient, acclaimed the book as legendary. The book helps him become a fellow at the American Academy, and that's from 55 to 57. And it also gives him a platform to be able to travel to different schools, universities on the East Coast, to the Midwest, and so on and so forth, from Bard College, University of Chicago, Rutgers, etc., where he ends up being able to speak about and share some of the tools and some of the strategies he used in terms of his literary genius. Then posthumously, after he dies, there's a piece called Juneteenth that gets released in 1999. So this is way after he passed away, right? If you go back to the last slide, he passed away in 94. So this is like a good 5 years after he passed away. In total, he has about 4 publications, but he has a lot of other pieces that he has also written. These are just the books that he has. So Ralph Ellison and his major works, y'all. Impact today. So the first thing I want to name and lift up about Ralph is about persistence, putting your foot on the pedal. So when Ralph went to Tuskegee Institute, he ends up going north to do different jobs and things like that. But he doesn't allow the fact that he can't immediately launch his career as a writer that he later on ends up pursuing. He doesn't allow the fact that he's having to, navigate different spaces and places in networking to make certain things happen. He stays persistent. He stays hungry, and it ends up showing itself in the release of his text. Next is about dreams, keeping your hope alive. Ralph didn't know he was going to be awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, right? That wasn't his goal to, pursue and try to get awards and things like that. He just followed what his dreams were. And his dreams led him to becoming a recipient of one of America's most heralded awards. The last thing I want to say is about heart. You got to prioritize the essence of you, right? And so Ralph was very much focused about what it meant to be in tune with the things that he wanted to accomplish to get done. Part of what kept his dreams alive is that he had the heart to pursue them. And so these are the 3 things I think definitely impact or have relevance to today in community, with families, workers, etc. Shout out to Ralph Ellison. So for the reflection part of today's video, I need you to list 3 things you learned about Ralph Ellison based on what I've shared with you. If you could do me a favor and take a picture of that and send it to zawadi@gmail.com so I can see how the audience is responding to and how the audience what the audience learned about Ralph Ellison from this video, that'd be excellent. Here are my sources. I want to give a special shout out and thanks to you for viewing this video. All my Patreon and YouTube subscribers and videos goes to Brother Joshua Saline, Jason Ebinger, Justine Collum. And I want to give special gratitude to Eileen Berman. So we're at the conclusion of our Zawadi. I need you to do the same thing as we do every time. Share the gift. Share the gift that is Black studies. Share the gift that is Black history. Share the gift that is Ralph Ellison.